Over the past years, gender-based violence and sexual assault continue to cast a dark shadow over Kenya's sporting world, more so in athletics. This is where dreams of glory are too often shattered by abuse, silence and fear. Tonight, our sports reporter Duncan Mutua takes to Iten, a small town in Elgeyo Marakwet, known globally as the home of champions. But behind the medals and the marathon victories lies painful truth in form of stories of young athletes whose pursuit of greatness turned into a struggle for safety and justice.
Let's open doors in our families for our daughters to come back home if they are facing problems with their husbands or their friends where they are living.
Gender-based violence and sexual assault has been so common in Kenya, more so in sports and athletics to be specific.
Gender-based violence is a pandemic, and gender-based violence, especially in sports, is real. We've lost many lives to gender-based violence.
Iten, a small town in Elgeyo Marakwet, a global hub for elite long-distance runners and a home of champion, as many call it. To many, this is a sanctuary, a place where dreams begin and greatness is nurtured. Here, once you step in as an athlete, you can only dream of one thing: gracing the international arenas. But behind the glory, behind the medals and record-breaking runs, a darker reality has been emerging.
We have people who come to Iten as predators. They come and prey on young girls.
Makocha wenye tuko nao saizi wote ni mafisi. Unakuja hapa Iten unapata coach. Ukiwa mgeni tu kwa saizi wanajuanga huyu mwenye ameingia, huyu ni mboga ile kazuri.
The allegation is real because I've seen bad potatoes of coaches right from the beginning of my involvement in track and field coaching.
In recent years, Iten has been haunted by a troubling rise in gender-based violence and sexual assault, particularly targeting young female athletes. For example, in October 2021, the world mourned the death of Agnes Tirop, a record-breaking athlete who was brutally killed in her own home.
Painful to lose such a young soul. Agnes was a strong lady, and now I think the age Agnes Tirop was 25 years old. It's the time too I started break records.
Her death sent shockwaves across the globe, revealing the vulnerability of women in sports, even at the highest level. And the case is still in court more than 4 years later.
Na tutaki leo mchezo kabisa. Tunataka huyo mtu apatikane. Huyo mtu akafanya maneno mzuri na kotini inachukua kesi hivi. Kwa nini kotini inachukua kesi hivi na mtu ameua mtoto yangu?
Give justice, Mother Koome. Tunataka haki ya mtoto yetu tuone itendeke.
The same month in 2021, Edith Muthoni was murdered in a domestic violence in Kiajenge village in Kirinyaga County, with Muthoni's husband Kennedy Chomba being the main suspect. The two are not the only cases. In April 2022, a decomposing body of a Kenyan-born runner Damaris Muthee was found in a house in Iten, with her Ethiopian boyfriend being the main suspect.
The likes of Agnes Tirop, we lost her and she was training and living in Iten. Also Damaris. We also lost Rebecca Cheptegei, who I was with her in Paris Olympics. And so you could see why female athletes, why Iten, is because we are more vulnerable and also we are going against the cultural norms.
In September 2024, Ugandan Olympic runner Rebecca Cheptegei died after being doused in petrol and set on fire by her former partner at her home in Western Kenya.
No other woman, no other girl in Uganda or world over should face what Rebecca Cheptegei went through. Her last race, she had to run for her life, burning and set ablaze by a partner, somebody who was her partner. It's not acceptable.
It later emerged that Cheptegei had reported the abuse to police prior to the attack.
And now like 1 month, tumekuwa na kesi ya one coach. Hako na watoto wangapi wa scholarship? 4. Hawa watoto wanawatekea advantage kwanza, kwa sababu anaona ngozi kwanza haijapigwa na jua vizuri. Unaona sisi sasa tumeshakaukia kwa barabara. Ukiingia nataka ile mtumba mpya yenye imeingia soko. Sasa wakishaingia hivi wanajuanga au tunawafanyia hivi kwa sababu na ule msichana hawezi kataa. Kocha anakuja saizi kuna kitu inaitwa tile sol. Hii yenye ya US saizi yenye unaenda unakimbia time ndio unapelekwa. Kocha anakuja anakuambia kuja kwangu ukimbie time ndio nikupeleke. Au sasa ndio wako kwa ile mbaya saizi. Kwa sababu anakuja anakuambia ndakufanyia hivi na hivi na hivi, kuja ni ukimbie ndio uingie time nikupeleke.
The three are just but some of the cases that have hit the athletics world, but slowly voices are rising. Advocates, former athletes, and human rights groups are pushing back, demanding change, justice, and protection for any athlete.
GBV has to end, and because we don't want to see a majority of our sportsmen and women losing their hard-earned wealth or money, I do understand what it costs for someone to get something out of sports. It means that you sell your blood, and the minute someone gets to snatch something from a sports person, it's just like taking a pint of blood from their body and put it down there.
Now remember, gender-based violence is not a unique problem of sports. It's a societal problem. What we see in the society, what you see in the television every day, when you look at it, you will think that Kenya is just a hell of a country, that there is no ethical or respect of any human rights. Because this one has been killed, this one has been killed, a boy has been killed because of 10 shillings, or because of bread, because of this. So camps would be a mirror of the society. That if we were to train those in camps, they may become agents in terms of their societies to say, hey, let's do things this way, let's do things differently than resorting to violence as a means of getting justice.
We also educate the young boys and girls because this GBV is cultural. And how do we change our culture is by starting with the young ones. So GBV is real. We have lost life in the sport. Women are being taken advantage of. They lose properties. They lose. They don't have. They are very stigmatized. So it is real.
But what really transpires to all these cases?
GBV, because when a GBV occurs, it doesn't occur. Majority that are reported doesn't occur in, or if they occur in sports, further minimized because of either lack of knowledge, lack of awareness, and because of the power balance issues. Some of these are not reported when they happen in a sports arena. But majority of this reported either happen either at home or in a camp. And the direct report when this happens does not come to sports. Either they go to the police or through the hospital. So we are getting secondary information. So we are not like the point of call. We are called to address challenges faced by our members. One, already the report has been made.
Is that in any society, we have madmen in the villages. So we have those ones who are painted the profession, and most of those most likely are those who have never been trained in terms of safeguarding issues or ethics of coaching. Because some people just come, I was an athlete, and then I become a coach, and then. So that's where things go wrong.
Jen Mutai, not a real name but a name that I've given to protect her identity, has been forced to quit her dream after a coach tabled the following demands.
Kuna coaches nilikuwa napitia kwa wananiambia kama unataka tukusaidie, kama unataka nikusaidie, itabidi ufanye hivi na hivi tukue wapenzi ndio niweze kukutafutia race ngambo. Bila hiyo hakuna race utapata. Mtu kama huyu sasa unakuja unajiuliza kweli nilikuja kutrain ama nitafanya hivyo. Haya, sometimes unapata manager anakuambia mimi nitakutafutia race, lakini kwanza nitakuwa nakata 15% ya kulipa ndege na accommodation na kila kitu. Inafika mahali anakuambia kwanza kabla sijakupatia hiyo race lazima kwanza nikufanyie 1-2. So mimi nikaona imekuwa ngumu.
And so is Alice Chepkoech, again not really a name. She remains with no management after rejecting an offer that was tabled for her.
Friends from management zile kubwa wale wamesign contract kubwa. Like juu wameona naweza kimbia mzuri, mtu ananiambia si tunaweza juu unakimbia mzuri na mimi nakimbia mzuri, si tuanze mapenzi na wewe. Juu sasa pesa inaenda kwa mwenye ako na pesa. But like me niliwakataa juu najua ipo siku yangu ikifika, pia siku yangu imefika. Like siwezi ona pesa, like kama uko na pesa nasema acha nikuende juu uko na pesa. No, kila mtu ana fight na maisha yake. Hiyo ndio niliweza kuepukana na juu mimi napenda kusema the reality. Na hivyo ndio utajifukusa mwenyewe.
For young, upcoming male athletes, it is a different case.
Wanaume wanaumia tena zaidi, ni the same thing because wanaume wako na familia.
For theirs, it is all about money and bribe, and if you don't have it, you are unlucky.
Wanaifahamu lakini wengi sahi Kenya, unajua Kenya ni ufisadi. Pesa ndio, kama unaweza toa pesa kidogo unaweza pewa race, unayo chance ya kupewa race. Lakini ni kitu inajulikana na ofisi. Wanajua. Juu pia athlete na ufisadi.
This year alone, inside 9 months, 6 different cases of gender-based violence and sexual assaults have been reported. 2 of those cases proceeded to court, but unfortunately, the complainant withdrew them. The other 4, the complainant and the accused decided to settle them outside the court.
Say 3 cases that were here were at international level. They were glaring at international level. So I don't have to recall, we had the world record holder Agnes, what happened to her. It opened our eyes in terms of the gaps we had. It's a challenge.
In this area, we have experienced some few cases of gender-based violence among the athletes. And for this year, I can report that we have 6 cases which have been reported.
According to the Keyo North Sub-County Police Commander Patrick Njoroge, this is the reason why it has been so difficult for them to counter this dark side of athletics.
Unfortunately, the complainants have withdrawn the cases in court, of which they were assault cases. We also had 4 other cases which were reported, but the complainant and the accused, they went and settled the matters outside, and we could not make a follow-up because the complainants didn't make a follow-up on the cases. So that is one of the biggest problems that we are facing.
But to counter this vice that has affected the society and more so in the sports industry, in November 2024, the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative and Sports, led by then Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, unveiled a Gender Protection and Implementation Committee, which was tasked with the mandate of developing policies and curb gender-based violence and create self-working environment for sports women and even men.
I am committed to be the voice of the voiceless, to say that GBV has to end.
In response, some camps are now implementing child protection policies, female chaperons, and confidential reporting channels.
There should be a way in which your work as a coach is regulated. So there must be a regulatory framework. More importantly, the SOPs should be a requirement for every camp, so that every camp, in order for it to qualify for registration, it needs to demonstrate what it has put in place to ensure there's going to be protection of athletes and everyone who works with athletes.
That we have an already existing SOP in terms of management of GBV and share in our camps, and we initiated this based on data and the information in terms of gender-based violence or occurrences within the county.
But experts say more must be done, including education, stronger legal follow-throughs, and athlete counseling.
Now, Kenya is never short of any policy. We have plenty of these policies. Implementation is what requires to be enhanced. And AK is in the process of even educating athletes in terms of safeguarding. They have created a safeguarding department, which to us is a plus, because it is when an athlete, for example, has a conflict with the manager, where do they go? They would have to go to AK. And then AK would do what? If an athlete and an athlete have a problem beyond the camp, where would they go? They would go to AK. But at the end of the day, it is about the goodwill to support these programs in terms of implementation, so that we see the fruits of elimination of all this.
SOPs should be a requirement for every camp, so that every camp, in order for it to qualify for registration, it needs to demonstrate what it has put in place to ensure there's going to be protection of athletes and everyone who works with athletes.
Duncan Mutua, TV 47.